A choice you're probably making right now that's causing a lot of problems. Keep watching. This is Life Mastery Gym, and I'm Damon Cart, and I teach people just like you cutting-edge NLP processes and techniques so that you can master your life and take charge of your destiny. So if that sounds good, make sure you click that subscribe button right down here so you can get these videos on a regular basis. If you've seen my videos before and you know who I am, and you would like to work with me one-on-one or in a small group of people, or you just want more information about what it is that I do, if you go to the description right down here, you'll see a link. Click on that link and check it out. Decision making can be one of the hardest things we do in life because decisions, choices we make affect so many things. So by the end of this video, you're gonna have a much better, much clearer understanding of how to make choices that work out really well for you and how to avoid decisions that aren't working for you. I like to say that I have my PhD in bad decision making and bad choices. And after making so many of these bad choices, I've come full circle. I've cultivated some wisdom. I've learned a lot of things. And I think you'll find most, if not all of it, extremely useful. Before I dive into this, I would like to hear from you. What's a bad choice you've made that you've really learned from, or a bad decision that you made that you've really learned from, that perhaps even has sort of shaped the way that your life is in a good way? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you're trying to make a choice or trying to make a decision that you're struggling with, also let me know that in the comments below and I will respond to you. There's a wonderful quote by one of my favorite authors, Hunter S. Thompson, who happens to have two posters on my wall behind me. And the quote goes, "A man who procrastinates in his choosing inevitably allows circumstance to make his decisions for him." After hearing the quote from Hunter S. Thompson, you probably have an idea of where this is going. The worst decision you could possibly make is not to make a conscious choice, not to make an intentional, informed choice, which is what a lot of people are doing. They're waiting for something. They don't feel comfortable making the choice because they don't know what will happen. But what they're not realizing is that too is a choice when you choose not to choose. And basically, when you choose not to choose because you're waiting for something, you're hesitating, you're procrastinating, life will make the choice for you. And that's not what you want. It might work out. You don't know. That's the thing. It's not, because it's not intentional. You're not influencing your circumstances. You're not influencing your life. And you are the greatest influencer of circumstances as they relate to you. You are the only thing you're in control of. Your life and your immediate surroundings are only what you have control over. And then the further it goes out, the more you have influence, but not control. So when you make choices, the more intentional your choices are, the more clear about your intentions, the better choices you're going to make. It doesn't mean you're never going to make a mistake. It means that also when things don't work out, when circumstances don't work out, you can still feel good in whatever choices you made because you know that they were intentional, that you looked into the situation, you gathered whatever information you needed to gather, and you controlled the situation as much as you could. You only influenced circumstances as best that you could. And if things don't work out, you can be fine with that. You can let it go because you know that it was outside of your control, but you did your best. And this is exactly how I make choices and decisions now. And so when I do make mistakes, they're so easy to live with because I know that whatever the choice was, especially the more important the choice is, the types of choices that really affect the rest of your life or affect big parts of your life, when I put that much intention and focus into those decisions and they don't work out, I'm really okay with it. I mean, it can be a bummer, but when you really look into it that way and you realize there are just some things that are out of your control, you can let them go. To put this another way, when you hesitate in making a decision, you are really letting go of control and influence over your life. And so what do we do when that happens? We often blame circumstances. We often blame other people. And that for sure will not get you any further. It will not advance you. if you're not taking responsibility for your choices. But that's exactly what we do when we don't make a choice. And then it gets even worse when we put off making a choice for so long that we actually forget about it. And that means it does go into your unconscious. Your unconscious doesn't let this go. It slips into your unconscious, and so you're not consciously aware of it. And that ambiguity of not having made that choice in one direction or another really puts this sort of buffer between you and reality. It sort of isolates you from reality, and you forget that you do have influence over your life, a tremendous amount of influence over your life. And if you forget that, you forget what you have control of and what you can influence, that will start to feel more and more restrictive, like you can't do things that you actually can do. I hear this all the time when people say to me, gee, I wish I could travel as much as you do. And I ask them, what stops you? And then they'll have all these excuses, and I'll just knock them one by one out of the way. And I've actually done this with a few people. I sort of grab them and don't let them go until they book a trip somewhere within maybe the conversation that we're having, or by the end of the day. Like, I won't let them go. I keep putting to them how easy this is to do. And I take every one of their excuses and I reframe it until, before they know it, they're booking a trip to wherever it is that they wanted to go. That's the truth about how things are. You can do so much more than what you think you can. Because we hesitate so much in making our choices, little by little, we're giving up control of our lives. We're giving up influence over our circumstances to the point where we feel quite helpless, like we really can't do anything. And it's just not true. A good example of this is when I create these videos. I have a clear idea of what it is that I want to say. And as you can imagine, or as you can tell, it's pretty obvious, this isn't scripted. But I have the idea in my mind. And then I also have supportive ideas and examples, like the one I'm giving right now, about the idea that I'm wanting to express. Without that, this video would just be a ramble of various ideas, very unclear, and you would either get really bored or have no idea what I'm talking about. And if you want to see an example of this, you can watch some of my earlier videos from 4 years ago. I've left them all up. Some of those videos are exactly that. I didn't really know what I wanted to say. I didn't have a very clear idea about how to say it or how to get it across, or exactly what idea that I was trying to express, and it shows. So over time, I've gotten better. Think about that when you're making choices. How are you going to get more and more clear about what it is that you want? Hesitating to make your choices is not going to help you. In fact, sometimes it's better to make a bad decision. Sometimes it's better to make a poor choice, one that results in a mistake, so you can get that information so that you can be more clear about what it is you do want. So at the beginning of this video, when I said I have my PhD in making bad choices, I'm probably not any really different than anyone else, except that I didn't wait. I didn't, sometimes I hesitated, but I got to a point where I realized it is better in many cases to make a bad choice to get the experience and become more clear about what it is that I want. You will find your way. The problem is that people attach bad choices to their self-worth. They think if I make a mistake, then that means I'm a bad person. And that's just not true. Everybody makes mistakes. And the more choices you make, the more actions you take, you're going to make more mistakes. You've probably heard that a person, the baseball players who strike out the most are also the ones who hit the most home runs. And you could say that the other way around. The ones who hit the most home runs are the ones who strike out the most, because they make a choice. They take an action. Most of the time, in most cases, taking action is going to be better than not taking action. And even if that's if it results in what you would call a bad choice. To me, the worst choice you can make is to hesitate and not make the choice at all. So to sum this up, in order to become more clear about what you want, in order to make better decisions, it's better to make a decision rather than to wait. It's better to take action than to wait. And even if it is a mistake, there are very few mistakes you can't recover from. So even if you make a mistake, you've learned something, and you can take that and move on and make better choices as a result of it. A lot of people, like I said, are attaching this to their self-worth, and they have this catastrophic idea of what happens when they make a bad choice. And it's really unfounded. And unless you're making a choice that really puts your health or your life in danger, pretty much everything else you can bounce back from. Believe me, take it from me. I've made so many mistakes and nothing has ruined my life. And I've been able to bounce back. I've had businesses that I hated that I left behind. And when I started them, I thought they were going to be it for the rest of my life. And of course, it didn't work out that way, and it's fine. You know, I'm in a business right now that I love. Get out there, make decisions, get the mistakes out of the way, collect the information that you need, get a clear understanding of what it is that you want. Know your values. And that's the same thing as intention. Your values are your intention. And get so good at this that every one of your decisions, especially as it relates to your life and your circumstances, make every one of those decisions intentional. Go for it. And it doesn't really matter if it works out perfectly or not, because it's not really going to work out perfectly. And you know that already. So make the choice, make the decision, gather the information, and keep going. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, if you would like to work with me in some way, one-on-one or in a small group of people, or you just want more information about what it is that I do, check the description below. You'll find a link down there. Just click that link. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. And last but not least, if you can think of a family member or a friend who you think would benefit from this video, make sure you share it with them. Take care.